All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Squad Goals podcast. I am your host, Gabe Walerziak, your technical director. With our co-stars, we have Seth in person, in the flesh.
What's up, guys?
And across the phone. Don't worry, he'll be back with us soon. But we have Simone, our other co-star, over the phone. What's good, Simone?
Yo, what's good?
And we are a day or two late, but don't worry. We are covering and reacting to and giving our recap and slight analysis to the Matchday 2 games. Every game that started on the day after Thanksgiving and ended just yesterday, this past Monday. So we've got quite a bit of games to go over. Some teams had already clinched their spot into the round of 16, and some teams already got eliminated in this stage. And let's go ahead and talk about some games, shall we? The first game happens to be in Group B, the group that the United States are in, but they weren't the first one to play. It was Wales going up against Iran, and Wales put up a disappointing fight. Not even much of a fight, losing to Iran 2-0. What do you guys take away from this one?
Yeah, I was pretty high on Wales coming into this tournament. I had them actually getting out of this group, and obviously they've completely let me down. But, you know, as a USA fan, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
But just the talent and the mix of veteran leadership and youngsters that Wales has, I was just very surprised about this performance. Losing 2-0 to Iran, both goals coming in second half stoppage time after their goalkeeper, Wayne Hennessy, got a red card. So it was sloppy play from Wales the whole game. Their back line continued to get exposed by Iran, who looked dangerous on their counterattacks, who were able to break down that back line with just one through ball. They always had numbers up. There were multiple times where it was like 4-on-2 in an attacking situation for Iran. This game could have been worse than 2-0, honestly. Wales had a couple chances here and there, but they didn't look dangerous, didn't look threatening. They made this Iran team look a lot better than they actually are, and just kind of disappointed in this Welsh team, but definitely a deserving win for Iran.
I don't think we're giving the Iran team enough credit. I mean, they have an amazing team right now, and even though they lost by an insane margin to England, they did show a lot of class against Wales and the U.S. And to be fair, Wales didn't put up the same fight that I think we all expected them to. They definitely performed a lot better in the first game against the United States. But I think that that's just a very good team, and they came very close to kicking the U.S. out of the round of 16 today, which I know we'll talk about a little bit more later. But I think we should be giving credit to Iran for having a very good squad, and I think Wales was probably the most disappointing team in that entire group. I think Iran deserves a lot more credit than we were giving them.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I don't mean to discredit Iran here. They're a strong team. They've put up a really good fight in this World Cup, but just from that initial game against England where they were completely exposed and looked like the team we thought they were gonna be, it was just a little bit shocking to see them kind of totally reverse that on Wales, who are a strong team. But I completely agree with you, Simone. Not taking anything away from Iran, they are a strong team. So good win for them.
Especially of the group stage, like they did start off kind of rough. I can't agree, but they definitely made a major comeback. Upset against Wales
for sure.
Dying, and we'll talk about the games later today about the U.S. one, but they definitely put in a good fight. And I feel like if they were in a different group, they could have potentially made it to the round of 16. Very unlucky for them not to make it there this World Cup.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, that goes for maybe quite a bit of these teams here, but we'll get to that in a future episode. Regardless, let's move on to the next match. Senegal versus Qatar. And man, I mean, I just kind of feel bad for Qatar at this point. It's their second match. They do get their one goal here. They score against Senegal, but I mean, Senegal, even without Sadio Mane, is still Senegal. They're pretty strong. 3-1 in favor of Senegal for this matchup. How do you guys take this one away? Senegal putting themselves in a good position to move on from the group.
Yeah, this wasn't a surprise to me. I mean, even without Sadio Mane, Senegal is still a really strong side, and they proved it here against Qatar. Obviously, Qatar, one of the weaker teams, not just in the group, but at the entire World Cup. Um, they didn't play too badly though, Qatar. They had some really nice link-up plays. They had a great goal. They had some pretty scary chances. Against Senegal. But at the end of the day, the Senegal team is just, they're too strong, too much talent, and too much pace as well. They were just able to really break down this Qatar team, and they got a strong 3-1 win here. So it was a good win for Senegal.
Yeah, I think Senegal completely dominated that game for the most part. You really saw a different side of them compared to the previous game against Netherlands, where they definitely showed a lot more class and a lot more composure.
Yep.
The one positive thing I can say from Qatar was that their goal was amazing. It's like they played amazing football for like 15 seconds and then never did it again.
Yeah.
The goal from that long ball was actually insane. A
Yeah.
lot of pro players can't do that. So it's very impressive to see that, and it was a well-deserved goal. But aside from that, there's not much we can give to Qatar. But fair play to them for that goal.
Yeah, and that's just how it goes. So Qatar going in to their third match day with 0 points, and they were really hoping for a result, none other than a tie from the next match, Netherlands versus Ecuador, because both of these teams have gone into match day 2 with a win. So if they tied with that Qatar loss, that would knock Qatar out of the tournament before even the match day 3 started. And guess what happens? Both of these teams tie 1-1 going into match day 3. Netherlands and Ecuador have 4 points, and that effectively eliminates Qatar from the tournament. And it's Qatar's the host nation. Kudos to them. But about this game, Netherlands and Ecuador, they really put up a fight for each other. I mean, it was one of those where maybe neither team deserved to win. Maybe they should have been a more high scoring tie. But what did you guys take away from this one?
Yeah, this definitely was a cagey affair, to say the least here. But I am beyond impressed with what Ecuador was able to do in this game. The fact that they were able to get this 1-1 draw against a very tough Dutch team was very impressive. I mean, Ecuador, in my opinion, has been very impressive throughout this whole tournament.
Yeah.
With Ener Valencia and some very young players. They've shown strong link-up play. They've shown true ability to be dangerous on the counterattack, put in dangerous crosses, be threatening in front of goal. And they really did expose this Dutch defense, which many people would argue is the Netherlands' the strongest part of their team. Honestly, I think the Netherlands are lucky to get a draw in this game, because Ecuador was really putting on the pressure, especially at the end of the game. And yeah, I'm just very impressed with Ecuador. Netherlands, they're a good team, but there's ways to break them down. There's ways to expose them, and Ecuador kind of showed that to the world here. So I'm going to say the Dutch were a little lucky in this one.
I completely agree with that. I think that Ecuador completely deserved that one. They did score 2 goals too, even though they got one of them taken away. I really expected a lot more from the Netherlands in this tournament. I expected them to completely dominate their group, but they couldn't even beat Qatar by more than 2 goals. So I'm actually kind of disappointed in how they've been playing. Aside from that, I think that Ecuador has a lot of class, and it's a shame that they're not moving forward. But that's definitely a win for Ecuador in my book. Very lucky for Netherlands to sneak away with the point there, because aside from that, I mean, it was just a disappointing performance from such a highly rated team. This team has so many superstars on their team, and they couldn't even, you know, break away from this team. So I don't think Netherlands is going to be going much further in this competition after the round of 16. Um, but yeah, poor Ecuador. Justice for Ecuador.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Ecuador had a close battle with the Netherlands, and yeah, we are recording this after the third match day for at least just Group A and B, so that's why we know what has happened already. But we're still talking about the second match day, just to keep you guys up to speed on what has happened. And let's talk about the last matchup of the second match day for Groups A and B, particularly Group B, England versus the United States of America. This one, a little bit shocking, I guess, from the English perspective to only be held to a 0-0 draw against the US, not playing as well as they had against Iran, for example, putting 6 goals on them. You would have expected, or many people were expecting England to have put at least one or two behind the back of the net, but I don't know if it was the U.S. defense or their midfield stuff. What do you and Simone, what do you think happened? Did the U.S. play well? Did the England play down to the U.S.? What happened in this game for a 0-0 tie?
Yeah, so I remember in our prediction video, I had England taking this game pretty easily, I believe. And boy, was I wrong about that. And I'm glad I
thing.
was wrong about that too.
Glad you were wrong.
Very, very impressed with this USA team. I mean, you're going up against an English team that has superstars at every position, Premier League stars everywhere, some of the best players in the world. And this USA team, just super young, inexperienced, but they were not only were they able to hold their own against England, but you could argue they deserved the win in this game. I mean, they were just pouring on the chances, and they were able to stay composed, keep good possession, create really good chances out wide, and had some good link-up play at the top of the 18 too, which almost got us a beautiful goal, I think, by Pulisic late in the game where he hit the crossbar. That was really unfortunate. But yeah, the USA have been playing really well this tournament. I've been very impressed with them. England, they struggled this game. They really did. I don't think they were ready for what the USA had to bring in this game. I also have to say I'm very disappointed in Gareth Southgate for not bringing on. I don't think he brought on Phil Foden at all, which I just don't understand that. I also don't understand. I mean, could be a little biased, but I think he's been playing really well this World Cup. Don't understand why you're not starting Marcus Rashford.
True.
And just some questionable lineup decisions, in my opinion, for England. But nonetheless, that doesn't take anything away from what the USA was able to produce against them. And yeah, England, they had that big win against Iran, but they definitely looked a little exposed here against the USA. So yeah, definitely glad to be talking about the USA so highly like that.
Yeah, for me, I'm most impressed with Tyler Adams. He is an amazing captain for our team at only the age of 23.
Yeah, Tyler Adams was very impressive. Yeah.
I need Chelsea to sign him because, gosh, he knows how to dominate. Going up against some of the, most prominent and promising youngsters for England, he held his own, and he kept the U.S. in the game pretty well. Obviously, it was the whole team, not just him, but he had a very good performance that game. And aside from that, I completely agree with you. I mean, the USA arguably could have won that entire game. It was very close. And England, I think it's just funny how English fans were saying it's not about who's going to win the game, it's how many goals we're going to score against the US, and they didn't even score one. So you got to give that team credit, to fight against such a big team with superstars, like you said, in every position, and hold their own. Even though it was just a tie, it's a very impressive result from the US. And based on the way that Netherlands are playing right now, I think that the US has a good chance at beating them. So yeah, very interested for them. But absolutely amazing performance from the U.S. I completely agree with you, Seth.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, don't take anything away from the U.S. They played their hearts out against England despite the 0-0 draw. And yeah, we will definitely talk about their performance against Iran in The episode coming later this week, so that's how you can tell we're a little bit on the happier side, of course. But let's move away from Group B and from all of our talk about the United States, and let's move on to Groups C and D for match day number 2. Starting off with the morning game this past weekend, Tunisia versus Australia, and oh boy, was this for all of us that are on the Australia hate train for this World Cup specifically. Tunisia really let us down. Simone, let's start with you because you have a history with Australia. What happened with Tunisia in this game? Why couldn't they do it?
Yeah, that was a very crazy game. Tunisia is still showing class, though. I feel like um, Tunisia has a really good ability to hold the ball and to dominate possession, and but the thing that they struggle with the most is scoring those opportunities. And the thing with Australia is if you give them a few of them, they're bound to score one. And that's the thing. That's exactly what happened. Australia took advantage of their few chances, while Tunisia couldn't do anything with theirs. I didn't like to see Australia win, but they did deserve it. I think they got a very nice goal, and they're actually very very not deadly, but they're very dangerous from set pieces. I've noticed. Very very mid squad in my opinion, especially Andrew Redmayne. But that's why I love Cub. That's why he's benched all the time.
Dude hasn't played a minute this World Cup.
But yeah, I do have to give it to them. They did play pretty well, even though they didn't really dominate any statistical like parts of the game. They had way less shots on target, way less possession. Like they didn't have anything over Tunisia. It's just that they can finish their chances, and that's what Tunisia is lacking. Very close game though.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that as well. I mean, Australia was just able to finish their chances while Tunisia wasn't. It's as simple as that. I mean, Tunisia, in my opinion, they were the more dangerous team, more threatening, looked better on the counterattack. Just overall, I believe we're the better team in that match. Just super unlucky to miss multiple chances. And yeah, well deserved though for Australia though. I mean, it's what football is all about. It's all about finishing your chances, taking the opportunities that are given to you, and that's exactly what they did to keep their World Cup hopes alive. And yeah, just like Simon said, definitely they're a very tall team, so very dangerous from set pieces. Was tough, made it tough on Tunisia. But this was definitely a shocker to everyone, as a lot of people were very high on Tunisia, but this definitely maybe lowered expectations. So
Yeah. So
I definitely expect Australia to get a win this World Cup. So very very shocking.
That's understandable. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about and to see that unfold. But hey, I mean, unfortunately, you gotta give credit to Australia. They did the deed. They got one bye, and that's all they needed. So 3 points for Australia. Now Tunisia is falling behind with 1 point in heading into the third match day. So we'll see if they can get anything against France, who have already clinched. We will talk about them in just a little bit. But first up, in between that, we will talk about our other squad, Poland, going up against Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, of course, coming off of that massive upset against Argentina, a 2-1 victory for them. And Poland to a 0-0 tie against Mexico. And Poland faces Saudi Arabia. And thankfully for us, they come away with the win, 2-0. And Robert Lewandowski gets his first ever career World Cup goal. Seth, you saw this live with us. What were your reactions, and how did you think the match went?
Yeah, this was a huge win for Poland because obviously coming off that draw with Mexico, they needed 3 points here to really keep their World Cup hopes alive, especially with Argentina coming up in their next game here. Yeah, it was a big win for them. It wasn't the most flashiest display from Poland, I will say. I mean, they didn't look bad, but they didn't look great. They looked all right. Like they got the job done. They finished their chances. They came in and did what they had to do. But listen, you can't take anything away from this Saudi Arabian team. I
Mm.
mean, they were pushing and pushing, and they were being very threatening near goal, and could have easily gotten a goal or two, tied this up on multiple occasions.
They had a penalty.
They did have a penalty. Chesney, great keeper, was able to save that not once but then twice on the rebound as well. So that was huge. But yeah, Saudi Arabia, they played a great match. Just like Tunisia, unlucky, couldn't really finish their chances. Whereas Poland, were able to. And yeah, like you said, Lewandowski getting his first career World Cup goal. That was just beautiful to see. You could see him crying after, how much it meant to him, how much it meant to all the Polacks around the world. So that was just a really, really good game to watch, and definitely looking forward to the game against Argentina. Lewandowski versus Messi should be a really good matchup. But yeah, Poland, they were solid, but definitely I think room for improvement. But 3 points is 3 points. We take it all day.
That's right.
Yeah, I look at my Polak brothers win like that.
Yes, sir.
See how defense was. That steal from Lewandowski was beautiful. That's just the strikers. There's not much to say about it. It was just him being in the right position at the right time, knowing how to attack the ball. I mean, it was a great performance from him. And the save from Szczesny was even better. The double save off the penalty, that was absolutely beautiful to watch. Kind of getting revenge for that miss against Mexico. So nice to see Szczesny saving that. And yeah, I think you guys definitely deserve that win. It was a little closer than I would have expected, but you guys are definitely the stronger side. But don't get me wrong, Saudi Arabia has some good talent though. It's going to be a tricky situation for Mexico because that Saudi Arabian team is actually very decent. They have very good ball control, especially on the attack. Like their players are agile, which I was not expecting from them. I don't know my team, but I'm very impressed from what I saw. All these countries that are, it's so different than other World Cups because these countries that are considered to be like not as good as underdogs are not as good as these bigger teams, but they're actually putting up some really good performances, and it's very impressive to see this. Everyone has a chance of winning this World Cup because of how well these different teams are playing, especially against the bigger teams. So it's great to see, honestly.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. So Poland putting themselves in a position to get out of this group, albeit not in the way that many expected, but definitely in a better way than what we have expected.
Yes.
Poland just needs, I think Poland's best chance or what they want to root for is a tie between Mexico and Saudi Arabia, because then they could get in with a slight loss to Argentina. It shouldn't be a blowout loss, because then if they do, that'll destroy the goal differential opportunity and all that sort of stuff. But regardless, Poland in a great position to move on out of Group C. Now let's move back to Group D for the next match in Match Day 2. We have France going up against Seth's dark horse, Denmark. And my, oh my, unfortunately, it was the Kylian Mbappe show with 2 goals in the back of the net. Denmark looked a little bit strong, though. They hung in there for a little bit, but in the end, a 2-1 victory for France. Seth, this isn't what you wanted to happen, but how did this all unfold?
Yeah, obviously I was hoping Denmark could pull it out, but listen, it's tough. It's tough for a team to beat another team 3 times in a year.
Yeah.
Denmark's already beaten France twice this year, so it would have been very tough for them to get a third win. But they kept it close. They kept it competitive, just what I thought it would be. But yeah, like you said, this was the Kylian Mbappe show. I mean, he is as good as we know he is. Like, he is that guy, Kylian Mbappe. I mean, he showed up today. His ability to just beat defenders one-on-one, his pace, his ability to dribble the ball, his playmaking ability, his ability to create chances just single-handedly. He is just a remarkable player, and he really makes this French team like so much better. He puts them on a new level, and this French team is looking a lot more dangerous than I thought they would coming into this World Cup. Especially, I mean, you got Mbappe on the left and then Dembele on the right, both players who can beat you one-on-one very easily. And obviously a strong defense and midfield as well. But yeah, France, they look scary. And I do think they deserve this win. But Denmark, they definitely held their own. They stayed in it. Very nice goal. I think it was by Christensen. A good header goal off a corner. Denmark had quite a few chances actually to get that equalizer. They were definitely pushing. And it's definitely a little concerning, obviously, the position they're in with only a point going into the last match day. But I still think Denmark can pull it out. And yeah, they showed good heart in this game, and they showed the ability to be that team, to be that dark horse that we thought they would be. It was Kylian Mbappe's day today. So yeah, I think Denmark will be okay. It's going to be close, but yeah, it was definitely a good game to watch, and kudos to France.
I don't know. Simone's on the other side of the call.
My bad. I think I got disconnected for a sec.
Oh, okay. Okay. You're good. You're good.
All right. Yeah, no, it's really sad. I thought Denmark could do it, and they did come close, but Mbappe is just, like Seth said, so different. He's a great player, and he like just having him on the pitch gets into players' heads.
Yep.
I mean, there's this one highlight. Give me one sec. There's this one highlight that I saw where he just I don't know, takes a step and then he causes the Denmark defender to like fall on his face. You know,
I think I saw
he
that too. Yeah.
has a very intimidating presence because it's so hard to mark him. Like I saw the Denmark, one of their strategies was to put two guys on him at once to stop him from just running through their team.
Yeah.
And either way, they put up a valiant fight, and they did beat them twice already this year. So, I mean, unlucky. Still, I mean, France is still a great team, like Seth said. But it was a great goal. I love to see the former Chelsea man on the score sheet. And I mean, I really wish Denmark could have won that. But overall, pretty good game, very, very close. And it shows that even though France is a very good team, arguably with some of the like best players in the world, I mean, anyone could beat them. You know, it's anyone's chance. If Denmark was that close to winning, any team has a chance against any team. Like this World Cup could go any way. We could see an African, a South American team winning it. You know, if Japan qualifies, an Asian team winning it. So you know, it's really exciting.
Yeah, that's the beauty and the potential of this World Cup. But right now, as it stands, France have punched their ticket with 2 matches in. They have already qualified for the round of 16. They really don't need to do anything against Tunisia in their next match. And Denmark absolutely needs a win against Australia. Cannot tie and cannot lose, or else Australia would most likely be going through with France. We're going to be rooting for Denmark for sure, but we will see what happens. Let's move on to the final match of that match day. Argentina going up against Mexico. Argentina is looking for some redemption, and boy, did they get it. A 2-0 emphatic win over Mexico with 2 beautiful goals by Argentina. One, a statement goal from Messi, just a low ball right into the bottom right, and another one by the name's escaping me, but the young kid from Argentina off the bench.
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez with a beautiful right-footed shot. Beautiful curler into the goal. Seth and Simone will describe those goals and more. What do you think this was more? Like Argentina like really showing what team they actually are, or Mexico just showing everyone that like they kind of just fell off at this World Cup?
I think it's more the second one. I think this just shows Mexico's downfall big time. I mean, I'll just quickly talk about Argentina. I mean, I wasn't really impressed with Argentina in this game. I got to be honest. Like, they didn't do anything that really made me go like, "Oh wow, like this team, they have what it takes to go all the way." You know, the interplay is good, the chances created are good, um, the ability to score is good. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't really there for me in this game. Obviously, they did what they had to do. They got their 2 goals late and took care of business. Um, they obviously they were the stronger side for sure. More possession, just better technical ability. So this was a big win for them. But I gotta say this Mexico team very disappointing this entire World Cup. I mean, they their opening game against Poland, nothing. Like, didn't really show much. Like, sure, they got the draw, but Poland didn't look great either. Just very sloppy on both sides. And now this game against Argentina, once again, super sloppy. Like, the ability to create chances and um, the technical ability on the ball, even just the passing itself, like it just it wasn't there. It just all looked out of sorts for Mexico, and their downfall just continues at this World Cup. And it's just it's really tough to see because Mexico, they're known as being one of those stronger nations, especially at a tournament like this. So yeah, definitely very very interesting to see that.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the only guy on Mexico's squad that's performing at the level that they should be at is Ochoa. This guy is saving them
Yeah.
left and right.
Yep.
He's the reason they're not completely out of this tournament, because if he didn't save that penalty from Lewandowski, they were done. There's no chance of them getting back into this tournament, and because of him, they still have a very, very small chance. But it's really sad because normally you see this team getting through easily to the round of 16, and right now they're in last place. They do have a chance to go through still, which is better than other teams in last place. But it's still going to be extremely close, and they're relying a lot on how other games are going to go as well. So it's not the ideal position for Mexico for sure. This team can't even beat the United States. And don't get me wrong, the U.S. has a very strong team right now. But this Mexican side, in the first game against Poland, it showed like they were definitely better than in previous months. But it's just not enough. And it's not the players. I feel like it's the management. They struggle so much to work as a team. And I feel like the manager or the coach isn't putting enough effort into making these players selfish. Like, in my mind, he needs to be telling these players, if you like take a shot on goal, you better be there better be no other option. There better be no pass available, because these guys are selfish up top. They don't pass the ball, and they give away opportunities to score clear goals by just shooting it instead of being a little bit more composed.
Yep.
So have talent on their squad. It's just a very tough situation with the players, and the lack of chemistry and the lack of working together as a team to get these goals. Like, they should just take a look at Serbia and how they played. The Serbian team scored a beautiful goal the other day, and it's like Mexico can never even pass the ball more than 4 times in the final third when they're in.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
go for no composure. And once Mexico can fix that, I think they'll be in a way better position. But right now, it's very disappointing to see.
Yeah, I mean, you said it really well. I think, what it comes down to is just Mexico. Their head coach has been under a lot of scrutiny recently about the management and the performance for his Mexican team. And by the looks of it, unless things really go their way in the last match day, they could be facing elimination from the group stage for the first time in quite a long time, which they've made the round of 16 and get eliminated from the round of 16 quite a few World Cups in a row, but not recently have they gotten out just straight at the group stage. But we will see how they perform against Saudi Arabia tomorrow. They absolutely need a win and a little bit of help from I think like Poland, honestly, of all teams, to beat Argentina if they want to go through. But we'll see what happens. So best of luck to Mexico, but not a very inspiring performance against Argentina.
No, not at all.
Next up, the next day, Sunday morning. This is when this game or when these next set of 4 games have happened. The first one was Japan going up against Costa Rica. And don't get me wrong, I love to see my CONCACAF brethren succeed. But wow, Costa Rica, one shot on goal and they got it. And Japan just could not get anything, no matter how hard they try. You've seen the highlights. 90% of them were Japan offensive attacks. And there was that one Costa Rican attack that ended up in the back of the net. How did Costa Rica get this win? And does this like spell doom for Japan going to the last match day? And does this kind of like, is this like a resurgence for Costa Rica, or will it not matter for either of these teams?
Yeah, this was very shocking. I don't think anyone had Costa Rica winning this game, but this performance right here is exactly why Keylor Navas is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Once again, a masterclass by him, keeping his team in it, multiple saves. And yeah, like you already said it. I mean, Japan were just dominant this game. I mean, they were attacking, just easily beating Costa Rican defenders in one-on-one situations, getting balls into the box. So many shots they had, just unfortunately all getting blocked or saved. But the amount of chances they created this game, Japan, I mean, super unlucky not even just draw this game, but win this game. I mean,
Should have been by a
yeah, I mean, this Japanese team just really gave it everything they had, and it was just it's like one of those FIFA games, when like you get
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
when you get absolutely dominated, but then
you just score one goal.
Yeah, you get that one lucky goal, and the other person has like 30 shots on goal, and that's pretty much what this game was here. So yeah, I mean, obviously, congrats to Costa Rica. That's a big win to keep their World Cup hopes alive, but that really hurts Japan. That sucks because Japan coming off a big win against Germany. If they knock off Costa Rica here,
then they're through.
They're through. They are through. They got the 6 points. The game against Spain would probably just determine
placement.
Yeah, first or second place. But they would be through. It just hurts to see, as everyone wants Japan to do well, and that was a painful loss for them.
Yeah, this reminded me a lot of the Peru-Colombia game in the World Cup qualifiers, where Colombia had 33 shots on Peru and Peru had 1 shot, and Peru won the game. Yeah, it was insane. It's really sad to see the downfall of Costa Rica, though. Even though they won, it's just really sad to see how afraid they are to just hold the ball. They're very they heavily rely on the counterattack, which is okay in certain circumstances, depending on the team you're playing against, but you can't play that way in every game because that's how you that's only going to work a very few amount of times, and obviously in this Japan game it did work.
That's how you lose 7-0 like to Spain.
Exactly. You have to have the courage to hold on to the ball, get slide tackled, but make sure you hold on to the ball, release it, and then get slide tackled. It doesn't matter. They'll get a booking. You can't be scared of holding the ball and just giving it back to the other team and then chasing them the whole 90 minutes, because that's how they just completely out-tire you.
Yep.
Obviously, it worked for them this game, which was extremely, extremely lucky, and everyone knows that it's lucky. So when it does work, it's the luckiest thing in the world. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. I feel really bad for Japan too. I had them going through, and they still have a chance. They're playing Spain, so it's going to be a little difficult. But overall, a very good performance from Japan. They were so close to getting in the back of the net more than 5 different times. And luck was just not on their side, and it was all the luck that day was given to the Costa Ricans. And with that being said, I don't think that that win means anything for Costa Rica. I think once they play against Germany, I don't think it'll be as big of a shutout as Spain 7-0, but I don't see Costa Rica even having a remote chance of winning this, especially if they play the same way.
Right.
Like I said before, that's going to work 1 out of 10 times. And that Japan game was that one time. So, I mean, if you're scared to hold the ball, if you can't get more than 25% possession in a game, then there's no way you're going to win more than one game at a time. Yeah, so sorry to those Japanese fans. They definitely deserve that win. The entire team played extremely well. I have them going pretty far in this World Cup, and it pained me to see that, but I still have hope for them, and I still think Japan is going to be able to go into the round of 16. I have faith against Spain, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because Japan now they need a result of any kind. They can't take an L. Like they can't lose or else they're out just mathematically. So they need at least a tie, and a win obviously would be best case scenario for them. But we'll just see what happens. Japan, like they beat Germany, so anything is possible. But something that we probably did not also expect to see was Morocco going into Belgium, not into Belgium, obviously they're playing in Qatar, but you know what I mean, facing off against Belgium, and they pull off the win. 2-0 Morocco, and honestly should have been 3-0 because they had another one in the back of the net taken away. But I'll just ask you guys one simple question. I mean, is Belgium's golden generation over? Like after this performance?
Yeah, it's done. It's done. I mean, this was just abysmal to see by Belgium. Terrible performance. I mean, especially when you have your captain, Kevin De Bruyne, coming out and saying, when asked about this Belgian team, if they can win the World Cup, he literally says, no, because they're too old. That's what he said in an interview. And I couldn't believe when I saw that. And I'm just like, yeah, he's not wrong. They're old, but like, you're the captain. Like you gotta be, representing your team in a better light. You gotta be giving your nation hope. And he just totally shut it all down. And like, it was just so sad to see. Watching this game, it looked like the Belgian players didn't even want to be there. Like they didn't even want to be there. They didn't even care about the World Cup. They just wanted to go home.
They beat Canada. They could have advanced with a win here. So it's like it wasn't.
They barely beat Canada. Barely.
This
like
is true.
that wasn't
Barely.
That wasn't any kind of special win. I mean, obviously 3 points is 3 points, but that Canadian team was pushing in that game. This was just a sorry excuse of a game for Belgium. Terrible. But I'll stop talking about them and then sorry, Simon, I just want to quickly talk about Morocco because I'm starting to really fall in love with this team right now. I don't want to take anything away from Morocco because they played one hell of a game. I mean, please, if you guys have the chance, please watch the highlights to this game because this Moroccan team, their ability to spray the ball out wide is beautiful. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Their long range passing is some of the best I've ever seen. And it's just so good. It was able to set up multiple threatening attacks for them because it had to shift the Belgian defense and they, weren't able getting them all out of position, which allowed the Moroccans to put in dangerous crosses, get some very threatening shots off, and obviously they took advantage of their opportunities and scored 2 very nice goals. And yeah, I was just very impressed by this Moroccan team. Their counterattacks were good. Composure was good. Even their technical ability on the ball, they looked very strong. Obviously, I was very impressed with their passing, especially their ability to spray the ball out wide. They looked very dangerous. And I could easily see this Moroccan team getting into the round of 16 and being a problem. I was very impressed by this team.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it was a Hakeem Ziyech masterclass against Courtois.
It
Um,
was. Ziyech had a great day. Great day for
yeah,
him.
I mean, guy, you really saw his creativity in that game. He was all over the field. He was, distributing crazy passes left and right. He can dribble. He can shoot. He can do just about anything.
Yep.
And the entire Moroccan team has showed so much willpower and so much um, excitement, in this World Cup. They've all been giving it 110%. It seems they're all running as fast as they possibly can, putting on the pressure, no matter what. Very high work rates, which is very, very impressive, and I respect it. And yeah, I really liked that goal from, it wasn't Hakeem Ziyech, but it was basically set up from him, where they have a free kick on the left side, and Hakeem Ziyech has an amazing left foot, so everyone is expecting him to cross it in, and he fakes it, and they just shoot on goal, and it goes in.
Yep.
That little trick has gotten Courtois in the past too, and he knew that it was going to work again, and it did, and it was absolutely beautiful to see. Courtois he got mixed up by the same play 2 times now, and he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, and if you can fool a goalkeeper like that, who's literally almost 7 foot tall, then you gotta be some kind of madman, and that's what he is. Absolutely amazing performance from Morocco. They were definitely, I think they had, like, I don't know, a 20% chance maybe or less to win the game, and the fact that they won it by a 2-0 margin was very, very impressive. And yeah, I'm disappointed in Belgium. I had them at least making it out of the group stage, and this team has showed that not only are they old, but they have no will to play for their country anymore. It seems.
Yeah.
Um, the team on paper very good, but right now I don't know why they're struggling. And I guess most of those players are great when things are going good, but the second that things don't go well, it's like they give up. And I think that it's a morality thing. It's a team spirit kind of thing. And when your captain doesn't even have team spirit, it's hard for the rest of the team to have that team spirit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
Yeah.
you need a leader, especially in the World Cup. And if you don't have one, then you don't have anything, because someone needs to be, getting you up when you're down. Someone needs to be supporting you no matter what. And when your captain is saying that you guys don't even have a chance of winning the World Cup, it doesn't give you that, thrill to fight for your country the way that another speech probably could. So
Yeah.
very disappointing.
Yeah, it's very shocking to see the sudden free fall we've seen for Belgium. Even though they did squeak out a win against Canada, this felt like a game that they kind of needed, because now they are going up against the team next match day that does have a lot of team spirit, and that is Croatia. And we'll talk about Croatia and their matchup against Canada. And this is just, I think, super unfortunate for Canada, because with with Canada's super narrow loss to Belgium, in which they should have at least gotten a draw, Canada had to at least get some sort of result, any sort of amount of points, 1 or 3, or they would be going home. And unfortunately, Costa Rica just turned it on. After Canada's fastest World Cup goal of this tournament, with 1 minute and 7 seconds from Alphonso Davies, they didn't sense the back of the net again, and Croatia just went crazy. 4-1 in favor of Croatia. Now, Croatia is sharing the top of the group with Morocco. Croatia will have a matchup against Belgium. This will be a winner go home for Belgium, but for Croatia, they have a little bit of a leeway. But let's talk about this Croatia-Canada match, because Canada is going home because of this loss. And what does this say to you about Croatia, who has a similar aging team to Belgium, but they seem to be a lot more spirited and a lot more inspiring? And what does this say about Canada and their young, inexperienced team with their first World Cup in 36 years?
Yeah, I think I think Canada just, or at least I'll start with talking about Canada's coach, who I'm not sure if you saw what he said that they were going to do to Croatia after the Belgium game. Seemed very cocky to me, especially coming off a loss. And obviously that didn't happen. So, Canada obviously started out, with a quick quick strike, beautiful header goal by Alphonso Davies. But from there, it was just all Croatia. And yeah, like you said, I'm gonna compare this to the Belgium Morocco game. I mean, you got the older team going up against the young spirited team, but Croatia handled this obviously much better. Um, I mean, this Croatia team, just like the Belgian team, just talent everywhere, right? Um, but Croatia actually looked like they wanted to be there. They wanted to win. They wanted to make a statement here and say, all right, guys, don't forget about us, right? So that's exactly what they did. I mean, Canada's defense looked horrible, horrible. It was just so easy to break them down for Croatia, especially when you have Kovacic, Modric, and Brozovic in the middle of that, in the middle of the field there. Super easy to break down their defense. The amount of times they were able to get 4-on-2s or 3-on-1s, like in the attacking third, it was just too easy for them. It was too easy for Croatia. They were able to really play around with the ball, almost bullying Canada, honestly, and they were just so composed, so calm because they're so experienced, all of them. Most of them were part of that 2018 World Cup squad. They know what they have to do, and just at the top of the 18, in and around the box, very composed. Were able to score a lot, 4 of their chances, as obviously. But yeah, I was really impressed with this Croatian team. I mean, technically, they were good on the ball. Passing was good. Their interplay between each other, creating chances inside and outside of the 18, just beautiful. Just a pure masterclass from Croatia, honestly, showing them why they're still a threat in this World Cup, even with their aging squad. We're kind of putting a young, inexperienced squad like Canada in their place, showing them like, hey, we're still here. Like we still own this game right now. So big win for Croatia, big statement win.
Yeah, the Canadian team came out really strong in the second minute with Alphonso Davies getting his first ever World Cup goal, which I guess is going to be the highlight of their World Cup. Now
Well,
that it's
it's
over.
Canada's first ever World Cup goal too. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
I
they
didn't
didn't
even know
score
that.
in 1986, the last time they were in the World Cup.
Wow. Well, hey, that's fantastic for them. At least they got a goal this Cup.
Oh no.
But yeah, I mean the Croatian team is just so strong, and I know that they don't have as many all the players that they did when they made it to the 2018 World Cup, but they still have an amazing squad with some of the best midfielders in the world. And when your defense is scrappy, they're easily going to pick passes through you and dribble through you, and that Canada defense, like Seth said, needed I don't know, they needed like a sixth player because their defense was not strong at all. They were all over the place, and surprising to me that they didn't lose by more, especially with that kind of defending. I mean, players are getting through them like left and right. But aside from that, I think that Canada actually deserves to be in the round of 16 more than Belgium does, at least. So it's just disappointing to see them go out like this, despite giving it a pretty good run for their first World Cup in so many years. Yeah, I mean, Seth said pretty much everything about this game that could be said. My highlight is that Alphonso Davies got his first World Cup goal, not just for himself, but now, like you guys mentioned, for his entire nation. So it's got to feel good, at least for him.
Yeah, I would have to agree, and I think Canada will be an exciting team to watch in come 2026 when they host the World Cup with the U.S. and Mexico. So we'll just have to be on the lookout for that. But regardless, that was Group F. But let's finish off that match day with Spain against Germany, and boy, what a game! This game was a 1-1 draw. Spain and Germany just, could not get past the other. But this game was just back and forth, just true masterclasses, honestly, I think from both squads. And in my opinion, I think arguably if one team deserved to win over the other, at least later in the game, maybe it would have been Germany, I think. But I don't know. Leave it up to debate for Seth and Simone. But Seth, I'll ask you this question. Who would you, if you were a manager, who would you rather have on your team, Gavi or Musiala? Because those are two studs that you love talking about. So
Yeah, they were both terrific this game. But if I was a manager, who would I rather have just right now? Man, it's gonna break my heart to say this because I always talk about the kid, but I'd rather have Musiala. I mean, did
You are
you
absolutely correct.
did,
You
did,
are. I was scared that you were gonna say the wrong thing, but you are absolutely correct.
I mean, did you see him in this game? He was insane. He was everywhere on the pitch. He was creating all the chances for Germany. He was um beating 3-4 defenders at one time. His dribbling is insane. His one-on-one ability is insane. He's just all over the pitch. He brings life into this German squad. They would be nothing without him. I really mean that. Like Musiala is something else. This kid is oh, man, he is a talent. He is a real talent. And don't get me wrong, Gavi as well. He is amazing, but he can't do quite what Musiala can. Especially in the attacking phase of the game. Yeah, Musiala, wow. What a game he had against Spain. Just unbelievable. But yeah, Germany as a whole, I kind of agree with you, Gabe. I think Germany actually looked really strong this game. I think they definitely, if there was a team to pick to win the game, I think it definitely was them. They definitely rebounded pretty well after that losing to Japan in the opening game. This looked like the German team that we know. They were tough, strong, being very aggressive in their challenges, being very threatening in front of goal. Just they looked intimidating, like how we know a German team should. And had had some missed opportunities where they could have taken this game, but they played a very strong game. For Spain, a little disappointed actually. They played a fine game. It was fine, but I thought they could have done more. They obviously they had most of the possession in this game, as they have, in my opinion, probably the best midfield at this tournament. So Spain is going to have most of this possession because of that. And Morata with a really nice little cheeky goal, beating Neuer there, to get Spain their goal. But it just, didn't look as flashy. I think Germany definitely played a pretty good defensive game, made it difficult for Spain to really do much in the attacking third and, create as many chances as they wanted. But it wasn't a bad performance from Spain. They did what they had to do. And, yeah, I was impressed with both teams. I mean, it was a really good game. It's what you would expect from a Spain Germany game. I mean, maybe you'd probably expect a few more goals, as this is one of the games I thought was going to be a very high scoring affair. But the defenses showed up to play today, and yeah, I'll just end it off with this before I pass it on to Simone. But these kids are going to be the future. Pedri, Gavi, and Musiala, they are just world-class players at such a young age, and they were the main focal point of this game. I mean, they were just truly amazing, all three of them, especially Musiala. So
Yeah.
good. So good.
I mean, they're not the future. They're the now. I mean, they're here now, and they're just gonna get better. So if you think they're good now, just wait a few years.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this was a very entertaining game. I had high hopes for the game, and even though it wasn't as high scoring as I expected it to be, it was still a very, very fun game to watch. It was very close up into the very end. And I mean, I can't disagree with what Seth said. Musiala was such an amazing player. He's the reason they
Mwah.
scored the one goal that they did, and he
Beautiful.
could have scored another one for them. I
Yep.
mean, this kid had it all glued to his feet. And you know, it's impressive to take on one or two players. It always is. But when you're taking on 3 to 4 and more, especially in the 18, that's, oh my gosh, the amount of composure and self, like, I don't know, like confidence you have to do that, because you could so easily just get wiped on your ass.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is the World Cup. They're going to tackle you hard. And the fact that he did that to the Spanish defense is insane.
It's really, isn't it really nice to see, like, because the German teams, they're an aging team a little bit, right? Like you got a lot of players that were there at the 2018 World Cup and before. Like, isn't it just great to see Germany get a kid like that, like somebody who just brings that spark? I just think it's a really good thing for Germany to have right now. So
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And having someone with that kind of ability in the midfield or up top is always going to be good for that German squad. I mean, this guy can distribute balls and he can dribble through a lot of players. I mean, this kid is already world class, like you said, Seth, and it's just going to get better. I hope Chelsea signs him.
I was gonna say, if he wants to come to Man United, we have an opening. We have an
Hey,
opening.
bro, that's a dead club. That's a dead club.
Oh man. Well,
You're wrong.
Well, yeah, Spain versus Germany. It was quite an entertaining game, and it's funny that you guys mentioned that you were hoping for a high-scoring thriller, because the next game we're going to talk about was, in fact, a high-scoring thriller. We have 4 games to go. This is the last day of Matchday 2. Let's talk about Cameroon versus Serbia. And this game, when looking at it, like before this happened, we were all like, it was like a snooze fest. We were thinking like, man, this is going to be a boring game, like 2 teams that we don't really care to watch. But then you come back and see what's the scoreline, and it's 3-3. Seth, why was this game, besides all the goals, obviously the 6 goals, why was it so entertaining?
Yeah, this is definitely a sleeper game for sure. I mean, 3-3. Wow, what a scoreline. Like, 2 teams you just, wouldn't expect to put up a performance like that. But I mean, listen, when you have everything to play for, then you're going in. You're going in when you know the position you're in. You got to throw everything you have to do what's necessary, and that's what both teams did. Obviously, starting out with Cameroon, they not a lot of people believed in them going into this World Cup, and obviously they looked pretty good against Switzerland, even though they lost 1-0. They looked threatening, and now getting a point, so keeping their World Cup hopes alive barely against Serbia. It's very good to see. But this Cameroon team, they're exciting. I mean, not a great defense, but they're very pacey. Their ability to get out wide quickly and beat defenders one-on-one on the wings is pretty impressive. And just being able to score on the break, on the counterattack, was very impressive from Cameroon. And it was a good comeback for them, as I believe they were down 3-1 actually, and then came back and tied it 3-3. So yeah, this Cameroon team, they're exciting. They're not as bad as a lot of us thought. They're definitely young, flashy team.
They had that nasty chipper goal.
That second goal, that was pretty nasty. There were some disrespectful goals in this game, let me tell you. Like, especially one by Mitrovic for Serbia, where he just literally tapped it in and nobody was like goalie was out of the goal, and it just disrespect all around. That's just
passing it around the 18 so much, though. They literally had like 15 passes inside the 18, and Mexico could learn from that.
Yeah, I know, for real. But I'll just briefly talk about Serbia. I mean, not the best defense. I mean, they were getting beaten on with multiple through balls by Cameroon, so definitely struggling there. Um, but I think Serbia missed the opportunity to win this game. I mean, Mitrovic missed a couple of really good chances. And obviously, we know how good of a striker he's been in the Prem for Fulham this year. Um, but, Serbia did what they had to do. And they, I mean, they looked all right. Like they definitely showed their ability to score and create chances. And they looked very threatening on set pieces as well, as they're a bigger team for sure. Um, but yeah, this was a very interesting game, and I don't think anyone really saw this scoreline happening. But that's what makes the World Cup the World Cup. So super exciting, and we'll see what both teams have to offer in their last game.
Yeah, no, this game was amazing. My grandpa called me after it to talk about it because he enjoyed that chipper goal so much.
That was like the highest chip I've
I
ever
know.
seen. That dude just like lobbed it way up and it just like bounced and
I
that was
think
so funny.
I think so many things were going through his head because I think he initially thought he was offside, but then he
Yeah.
realized that even if he was, he should still try and score because he might not have been. And
Yeah.
like that's why he slowed down and the defender caught up to him. But his composure there was just amazing, where he just lets the defender slide past him and then
Yeah.
completely gets the goalkeeper out of position. Um, Seth already said most of the things about this game, but all I gotta say is that Cameroon's positioning and timed runs are actually very, very good.
Hmm.
Both of
Yeah.
their goals, at the very end especially, they both looked like they looked like they were offside. I mean, the defense was completely caught lacking. These
Right.
guys had yards, and they're onside. I mean, they timed their runs perfectly. So that's a really hard thing to do, especially with that. Like there was so much distance between the striker and the defenders once the ball got to his foot.
Mm,
So it's very impressive. It
Yes.
was an amazing scoreline. I mean, you start off with Cameroon breaking through in the 29th minute, and then right before halftime, Serbia scores 2 goals, and they go into halftime with a 2-1 lead, and then they score another goal, so it's 3-1, and out of nowhere, within 3 minutes, it's tied 3-3. I mean, this game was end to end, amazing game, one of the best games of the World Cup so far, and I hope to see many more like this World Cup.
well, you guys are just about to. We're going to talk about the other one that was pretty much just like this. South Korea versus Ghana, another thriller, 3-2, an offensive showcase. But it was Ghana that took the win, 3-2. They had a 2-0 lead, gave it up, and it was 2-2 at one point. South Korea with 2 goals in the span of 8 minutes or something like that. And then,
Yep.
unfortunately for them, Ghana just had that one chance by I think it was an accidental goal because someone one of their teammates tried to kick the ball and just whiffed, and it just fell right into the feet of another teammate that just was in a perfect
Mm,
position to score.
yeah.
And South
Yeah.
Korea, a little bit of controversy on that game because they had a corner kick at the very end, but the ref decided to blow the final whistle before giving South Korea that last corner kick. Most likely wouldn't have gone in for them anyway, but I think it was worth for them to be able to have that shot. Regardless, South Korea are in a tough position right now in Group H with only 1 point, and they took the L to Ghana. So, what were your guys' reactions to seeing Ghana get the win over
Y-
South Korea?
Yeah. I, in my opinion, this was probably one of the most evenly matched games of the World Cup. I mean, it was just back and forth and back and forth. Like both teams were just taking shots at each other, and it was super exciting to watch this game. Um, Obviously, Ghana pulled it out at the end with a little bit of controversy, but man, I think this game definitely probably should have ended in a draw with how even it was between both sides. Um, both teams just um, breaking each other down, creating multiple chances, scoring beautiful goals. I mean, it's just a classic World Cup match. It's exactly what you want to see when you're just, before you go to work, you're just chilling on the couch, looking for something to watch. That's the game right there, guys. Ghana and South Korea. I mean, it was just it was really exciting. I mean, yeah, both teams I thought played really well and were just yeah, so even. Like I can't even it's just hard to really differentiate. I mean, obviously Ghana pulled out the win, so they were, a little bit more effective in finishing their chances, and South Korea getting super unlucky on a few of theirs. They had two beautiful goals though, I will say. But yeah, this was just a really good game to watch. There's just yeah, I just don't know what else to say about it. It was just great. Great to see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna disagree a little bit. It was a great game, and I can definitely agree that in the first half it was very bad, like, end to end. But in the second half, South Korea really took control of that game, amounting up to 22 shots, with seven of them being on target, while Ghana only had a total of 7 shots in the entire game. So at the very end, in that second half, South Korea was, I think, not completely dominating them, but they had a very
Yeah,
good attack.
they were definitely pushing for sure.
Yeah, and I guess I guess the manager from the Ghana team kind of like must have switched up the strategy at halftime, because the Ghana team did not look as strong in that second half as they did in the first half. They were playing a lot more defensively, and I think that that's why they almost lost that game, because they were like, "Hey, we're up 2-0 at halftime. This is an easy win for us. We just need to, hold out the win." And by switching up the way that you play, sometimes you offer that, you give the other team a chance to attack you in a different way, and that's when you screw yourself over. And that's what they almost got completely screwed because of that switch up in the strategy. So that manager almost had a disaster fall upon him. Luckily, he was able to pull out away the win, but he almost choked that game, which was insane. Because I'm looking at the stats right now, and South Korea had 64% possession, which the majority of it came from that second half.
Right.
And yeah, like I said, Seth was right about the first half. Ghana and South Korea were going at it neck and neck, and obviously Ghana came out on top. But in that second half, it was just really sad to see how conservatively the manager wanted to play that, and because of that, they almost lost it. But I mean, that goal at the very end to seal the deal was very, very lucky. Great goal though, well deserved. But South Korea missed quite a few chances and had a lot of chances to tie that game or even win it. So in my mind, I think South Korea should have at least gotten that draw, possibly won. But it was a great game overall, and props to Ghana, because now they have a chance to get to the round of 16 and knock Uruguay out of the competition and get that well-deserved revenge.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Actually, yeah, with it being with it should have been a draw, right? Like that's South Korea definitely was pushing there at the end, but. You brought up a good point about the tactics and how Ghana changed them like in the second half. I feel like we've been noticing that a lot in this World Cup, where teams are up, going into halftime or whatnot, change their tactics to become more defensive, and it sort of bites them in the back. Like they're just trying to hold on to that lead. But it's just interesting to see, because as much as South Korea was pushing and pushing in that second half, and they got those 2 goals to bring it back, because of how much they were pushing, that's how Ghana was able to get their 3rd goal. Even though Ghana was being so defensive, because South Korea was holding such a high line and was really attacking, Ghana was able to counter off that, and that's what a beautiful counter goal that's what led to their 3rd goal. So it's like it's like a pro and con with like switching the tactics. But I really like that you brought that up, Simone, because it's something that at least I've been noticing that managers have been doing in this World Cup, and sometimes it's been paying off, sometimes it hasn't, because it's like they gave up. Ghana gave up 2 goals, right, by switching defensively and allowing all that pressure. But because South Korea was putting all that pressure on, they exposed themselves, which led to that Ghana winning goal. So I don't know. It's very interesting, and for me, that's what made it a really even game for me. Is like even though South Korea was pushing in that second half a lot, and yeah, ended up with more possession. It was Ghana's ability to get those couple of counterattacks that for me still kept it kind of even. But yeah, this was very entertaining, and I still do think South Korea deserved to draw, just like Simone said. So, yeah, good game.
Yeah. Very, very unlucky match day 2 for the East Asian nations, South Korea and Japan. But regardless, we'll see how they do match day 3. South Korea needing a lot of help to move on. But let's talk about the next game. We have 2 more games to talk about. This first one, Brazil versus Switzerland, and Brazil win 1-0, and they become only the second nation thus far to confirm their spot in the round of 16 just through the second round. We'll talk about the third nation after this one. But Brazil, even though they had this 1-0 scoreline, I don't think that was truly resemblant of how dominant Brazil were on the ball. And I think when earlier when you were talking about Argentina and you said they don't kind of remind you of that beautiful football play. By the amount of times you were left speechless after watching those Brazil highlights, I think does Brazil do remind you of that beautiful football play?
They really do. I mean, Brazil, their nation is the definition of beautiful football. I mean, this should have been more than 1-0. Let's just start there. Brazil dominated. They dominated. They just look so threatening. And can I just say something? Like, how do you leave Vinny Jr. that wide open multiple times? Multiple times, Vinny Jr. on that left wing was wide open. Nobody was near him. And they would just switch the ball over to him, and he just had acres of space to run into. And then, be very threatening or create a good chance. I just don't get it. He's one of the best players in the world right now. Like, what is Switzerland doing defensively? How are you not marking him, especially with Neymar out? Like, it's not like you have to look out for Neymar. I mean, like, obviously Brazil has other threatening players, but, Vinny Jr. is now one of the most threatening with Neymar out for Brazil. I was just so shocked to see how many times he was wide open on that left wing. But yeah, it was just beautiful play by Brazil all around. All phases of their game was just pretty much perfect. I mean, Switzerland didn't even have a shot on target. Like, come on. Like, they had a couple of okay sort of chances, but nothing like that was like, oh my god, like that almost went in, or that was,
right.
They should have scored there. Like, nothing like that. It was just Brazil masterclass. Well-deserved win. They are a hot team right now, probably the hottest right now at this World Cup, and they look super dangerous. I do not want to be the team going up against them in the round of 16. So
it's crazy because Brazil, even without, they didn't have Neymar this game at all. Like you said,
they didn't even have their best player, and still looked extremely dangerous.
They didn't look any different. They still looked as good.
Nope.
Simone, how would you rate your South American brethren, Brazil?
Oh man, I'm mad at them for destroying Peru all those times and like Costa. Gosh, man,
in the Copa final.
Yeah, I mean, geez, like at the beginning of this World Cup, I had Argentina winning the whole thing, and I'm gonna stand by my prediction. But I just wish the Argentina's squad played the way that the Brazilian squad played. Like the Brazilian team has so much to give, and they look so promising. It was only a 1-0 game, a win, even though the Vinny Jr. goal was taken away. But like you guys said, it should have been way more. And then he came to play. He's proving that he is one of the best players in the world. I mean, whenever he gets the ball, he looks like he wants to take on 1, 2, 3 players at a time. And his agility just makes it so hard to mark him because as soon as you step in, this guy is literally a mile away from you. He has great ball control. I mean, and you're seeing a new style of play where he's learning from his teammates at Real Madrid. I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a cross where he crosses it into Richarlison, who Richarlison missed the shot, but he trivelled it.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it was a
and
great Trivela cross.
outside trivillas it, and it's like right out of the book of Modric. So he's learning from the best players in the world, and he's
Mhm.
becoming one of the best. So it was absolutely beautiful to see, and they are going to go far in this World Cup. That's for sure. They've asserted their dominance, and they are 100% going to go far.
Yeah, Seth, I'm surprised you didn't talk about the Casemiro goal at all. I mean, that was
I
the
it
difference.
was a very pretty goal. I mean,
It was
the Manchester United midfield duo of Casemiro and Fred put on a show, and it's lovely to see.
Oh boy. But yeah,
they play good for. It's funny. Every Manchester United player is playing great for their country, but terrible for their club.
that sums it up for Seth.
We're a second half club. We're a second half of the year club.
second half of the year. Alrighty. But
Half of
regardless.
the decade.
Regardless, sticking to the World Cup, Brazil confirmed their spot in the round of 16, and the last matchup of the day, and the third and final team to confirm and clinch their spot in the round of 16 before the third match day begins is Portugal. Portugal, they face off against Uruguay, are arguably the toughest matchup that they have to play in their group, and they looked pretty good. They got a 2-0 win over Uruguay, and albeit Uruguay had quite a few chances that they just hilariously missed. But Portugal, they took advantage of their chances. Bruno's cross just barely whisked by Ronaldo's hair, and ended up going in the back of the net. And then he scored a penalty kick at the end of the game. So Portugal stamp their feet into the round of 16. And I'm going to start with you, Simone. How would you rate this game? More particularly, I want you to talk about your South American brethren in Uruguay. Why did they decide to start Cavani over Suarez? And how come they couldn't score any goals against Portugal? And where does this put them heading into the final match?
Yeah, I mean, I think, well, to answer your first question, I think that they started Cavani over Suarez purely because of the current like physical condition that they're in. In match day one, Suarez, I hate to say it, he looked fat. You know,
Oh
he
no,
he was
He did
like
look
he
very
did
out of
not.
shape.
He looked exactly like he looked out of it. You
He
know,
looked
like I was
gassed.
watching Ron and he looked like he was out of it within like 5 minutes of being in. Um, So I think that since Cavani is in better shape than him, they started him because you don't want someone that's gonna, die before the second half to be starting in your. No matter how good they are at shooting the ball, you don't want someone that can't run the first 45 minutes.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, Cavani is kind of out of his prime now. He's the reason that Portugal was kicked out of the World Cup in 2018, and now Portugal got their mini revenge on them, I guess. Um, but yeah, I mean, their players are just they lack the quality that I expected. I didn't expect Cavani and Suarez to have that much of an impact in this World Cup, but they really had no impact, to be fair. Like very, very small impact. And Darwin Nunez again, he just looks so new, like he's not ready for this stuff. He doesn't have the experience yet. And a lot of the players, I don't know, like they lack that chemistry. And it was disappointing to see from this Uruguayan team that in previous years has done so well in the World Cup. But aside from that, Portugal played amazing. I mean, even though Ronaldo didn't score that goal, if he wasn't there, that wasn't going in. It was a cross. Keeper is easily catching that. So Ronaldo getting there and, getting the keeper nervous and not, he doesn't know where the ball's going to go. So, I mean, all credit to Ronaldo. Even though that the ball didn't actually touch him, he's the reason that goal went in. And the penalty at the end sealed the deal. And now Uruguay is potentially out of this World Cup depending on the next match day. So I think it's a great performance from Portugal. The team looks very solid. They look better than Argentina currently, in my opinion. That's for sure. because they don't rely on just one or two players. Like, it's the whole team that has very good ability. Like when Joao Felix is on the ball, they get scared. Like the other team is going to get scared because this guy is actually playing really well in the World Cup, and so is all the other players. Honestly, I mean, all their forwards are filthy. All their midfielders are extremely skillful. So, Portuguese team is looking great. I'm very happy for them to have gotten into the round of 16 so easily. And yeah, I mean, as much as I love my South American brothers, Uruguay, I mean, they're in a tough spot. And I'm going to be rooting for Ghana in their game because I want to see Ghana get revenge for what happened to them all those years ago. So this is a perfect way to end this last match day.
Yeah. Seth, what do you think? How would you rate this match?
Yeah, it was a little surprising. Obviously, I'm very happy that Portugal was able to pull out the win, but yeah, Uruguay was just kind of lost. Like for the first 70 minutes of that game, it was really all Portugal. Portugal really controlled the game, dominated possession, were the ones creating chances, being threatening. They just looked like the better team. Uruguay just kind of nowhere to be found, but those last 20 25 minutes or so, Uruguay really turned it on. Like something finally switched. I don't know if it might have been the subs, because when Palestri came on, him and Valverde looked really threatening, coming down the wings and putting in dangerous balls, and Uruguay started, some life came back to them, but it was too late. It was just too late at that point. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes getting a brace, really nice to see. And yeah, this Portugal team is just super talented. Like individually, they have amazing players all around the pitch. And yeah, big shout out especially to Bruno Fernandes and Bernardo Silva. I thought they were excellent today. The two of them, they did really well. Portugal has had some problems, like chemistry wise, just with such great talent, like really coming together and looking like, the best version of themselves. They've been struggling with that a little bit. But as each game goes on and on, you could tell it's getting better and better. They're gelling better and better. So they're definitely going to be a big threat in the round of 16 and hopefully forward as well. But yeah, it's good to see that they're able to score, which leads me into my next little thing about Uruguay that I just want to mention is Uruguay is known for their front line. Like they're known to have such good attackers with, Valverde and Suarez and Nunez and Cavani. Like they've always been known for their attack and being able to score. It's 2 straight games without a goal for them. 2 straight games without a goal. That's something's going on there. That's not okay for a Uruguay team not scoring 2 games. Yeah. You don't see that often. No. So something's going on there, and it's definitely a little. They got to get it fixed in this last game against Ghana. So. Yeah.
The thing is that Cavani, if he was in his prime, I think he would have scored that volley that he got. But he's just older now, and those veteran strikers are older now, and you need Nunez needed to be in his position, and he probably with his youth he could have had a better angle. And the thing was that Cavani had a bad angle, and I mean if he was a little bit younger and he had his prime ability, then he definitely was scoring there. And it was also a lack of composure because he actually had time.
Big time lack
so
of composure.
First of all, if he was young, he scored that volley 100%. But the other thing is that he had time and he didn't take it, and he rushed it. So yeah, the Uruguayan offense is definitely struggling, especially with some of the superstars that they have on their team, whether they're older or younger. They do have good players, and I expect way more from Uruguay. Even if they don't win every game, you're expecting at least a goal or something. So, like you said, they better pick it up. Otherwise, their nation is not going to be happy with them. At least Canada scored a goal.
This is true.
Yep.
This is true. But yeah, looks like that's gonna do it. That is all of match day 2. So now we know the scenarios and situations that need to happen for match day 3 to occur. Yeah, as of this recording, we already know what happened to groups A and B. So we're thankful that the U.S. is moving on. We will talk about them, their performance against Iran, and those other Group A and B games in the next episode that will happen Friday night, Saturday morning, whenever the rest of the match day 3 games end. But as for the rest of the games from groups C through H, Seth and Simone, just point out one game that you think is going to be that you're looking forward to watching the most between the rest of this remaining week. Which game of match day 3, besides the 4 that have already happened in Group A and B, the games that have not happened yet, which ones are you looking forward to watching?
Yeah. So the main one for me is Poland, Argentina.
Yep.
I'm really excited to see that as a Polak fan. Messi versus Lewandowski, the battle for first place in the group. I definitely think that should be a really good one. That's my my top remaining game.
Yeah. Simone, what's your top game to watch?
I'm also very excited for that game as well. But for me, I'm gonna stick to the classic, and I'm gonna go for the Ghana Uruguay game. This is gonna be a very intense game. You know, no one from Ghana will ever forget what happened to them in that World Cup, and you know, both teams are gonna play their lives out, because if Uruguay doesn't even, Uruguay needs to win this one if they want to have a chance of even qualifying. If they don't win it, they're like, there's no chance. So they know they're gonna have to give it their all, and Ghana is not gonna be willing to let Uruguay have any slip ups. They're mad from what happened last time, and they are coming off of a very, very nice win against South Korea. So this will be a very, very exciting match. And like I said, I do hope the Ghana wins it. They deserve their revenge.
Yeah, if Ghana, in that game, I think Uruguay might be better off leaving Suarez on the bench, or he might just be like a target for Ghanaian players. But hey, regardless, that's gonna do it for today's episode. We appreciate you guys watching and listening. Let us know which games you're shocked at the most, which ones caught your attention, what was your favorite game out of the match day 2 games. And don't worry, match day 3 games will come out, or our reactions to match day 3 will come out later this week, at the end of the day, Friday, maybe early Saturday morning, as well as our predictions to the new and official round of 16, the bracket. So that'll be exciting to see. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You got our co-stars Seth and Simone signing out, and I'm your technical director, Gabe Willerziak, and we will see you guys next time on the Squad Goals Podcast.